So how could that have been justified for what appears for that law enforcement officer to walk up to a woman who was climbing through a window and shoot her in, point blank in the face? Looks like he was shooting for her head, hit her in the throat. She falls back and dies. What could justify that level of force when it hasn't been used anywhere else in any protest in America, right? In recent memory. Okay, what could justify that? The only things that could justify that is national security. Hey everyone, welcome to Christian Warrior Talk Live. Please let me know on YouTube and on Facebook that you can hear me loud and clear. We have a lot to go over today. I will not get off the air until we get through everything that went on yesterday, things that have come out, take your questions. I'm even willing to take phone calls to talk about this. So just message us. Lauren will get your number and shoot it to me, and I'll call you in. And when that time comes, but there is an awful lot to talk about today. Hey Deb, thanks. Appreciate you letting me know that. You have no idea how much that helps letting us know. So I know we're up on Facebook. How about YouTube? Can you guys sound off and let me know you can hear me over there? So a lot of footage and a lot of things have come out, and I want to bring some perspective on, the killing of the Trump supporter yesterday. And I've seen some really cold, nasty stuff, and I've seen Republicans saying things. I've seen female Republicans saying things because, that just make me sick. And I just want to go over this. And of course, they turned out to be anti-Trumpers and, deep state rhinos. But there is so much misinformation going on out there about all this. So the one thing I think that we should all do, and everybody who's going to talk current events or news should put out a statement at the beginning of their show. All right, whether they're news or whether they're opinion, right? I am opinion, okay? I'm going to give you my opinion on things. If I know something to be a fact, I'll say this is a fact, okay? But most of it is opinion. All the shows you watch on TV, like, CNN and Fox News and so many, they're opinion shows, and they don't tell you their opinion. So people think sometimes that they are news shows. I don't know of a news show anymore. There's so much of their opinion in their news reporting now that you can't do anything. Yesterday, I saw Brett Baer. I saw all these people, all from Fox, all these news channels, everyone. I didn't get to OAN. I couldn't get their app is terrible and I couldn't get it to work. But I didn't see anyone who had the wisdom, the God-given wisdom to say, listen, we don't know all the facts. This is literally the most chaotic environment. We don't know who fired the shots. It could have been law enforcement. It could have been a Trump protest. We don't know. They all ran with it, and they all made it try to sound like armed Trump protesters broke in and shot up the place, which was totally irresponsible. And they should all be fired for it. It's unforgivable for them to abuse their authority in that way. And that's the narrative that went out there. Violent Trump protests and all these other things, right? The shooting, the original footage I saw yesterday of the shooting of her was taken from a terrible angle where I thought it was an accidental discharge because she didn't appear to be a threat. I didn't see anything. And, I now know that she was purposefully killed, right? Executed, whatever you want to call it. It still could be a justifiable shoot. I said yesterday, we need to wait for the evidence to lay out and figure out what it was because there are some complications behind that that make it very, very, very dangerous environment to where that could have been a good shoot. Okay, I posted the video that I got from Jaden X, and it's on Patriot Crusader Mission on on MeWe. All right. I didn't want to post it on Facebook. I didn't want to post it on YouTube because I'll get banned. So I posted it there. I will put it up to Parler, but it's at Patriot Crusader Mission on MeWe if you want to go over there and see it. All right. But I'm going to talk about the context of what happened today, and I'm going to try to bring rhyme and reason to this. And I'm going to try to bring context because no one is bringing context. They're just vilifying half the population and 300,000 plus people now, I'm hearing by counts, and painting them all with the same brush. I'm also hearing people saying that Antifa infiltrated the group. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. It could even be probable. I've seen evidence on the internet that suggests otherwise, both ways, right? I've had so many pictures of the Viking guy shared with me saying that he's an Antifa guy. And then I've had other people showing that he's from this and that there was a guy from the Charlottesville violence and all. It doesn't matter, guys, okay? There is some clear blame to go around here. And there is some clear... This could have been prevented, right? This could have been prevented. And there is some clear feet to be blame to be laid at multiple people's feet, all right? And it may not be who you think in the end, all right? So, so where to start? I went, to recap, I went to the Trump rally, protest, whatever you will call yesterday. I did not go to the Capitol. When they started marching, I didn't think anything good was going to happen, not because the crowd was being rallied. I just thought, I'd been there to hear Trump speak. I was there to show people that I was in support of him. I wasn't there, it was to just be there for 14, 15, 20 hours, right? That's not why I was there. I salute the people who stayed there. I salute the people who went to the Capitol and behaved and did the right thing. All right. Let me say this crystal clearly. I'm not going to be like everyone else out there and condemn people going into the Capitol. If there is one place where protesters should be allowed, or where I expect them to go in and, they didn't go into a business owner's house or business. They didn't break into a private residence. They broke into a piece of property that we the people own while there was government going on. All right. Now, they should go to jail for what they did. That's the price you pay for breaking in there. Should they hurt cops? No, they should not hurt cops. Should they do whatever? But you got to understand, man, people, unfortunately, this was a catastrophe set up from a long time ago, and it's, that could have been prevented. All right. And let me break out this story. And, I'm doing this all off the cuff. I don't have any notes. I just wanted to come in here and give it to you, and I wanted to have a conversation with you. Please make sense of this craziness. I will, Che. Captain K-Man, thank you for letting me, for sounding off and letting me know I'm good here. For everybody on Facebook, if you really want to make an impact on me and change our life and to make things great, I appreciate you watching on Facebook, but if you went over to the YouTube live channel, you would actually help us grow the hours over there and help us start making money on this channel, if you want to do that. So if you bounce off of Facebook and go over to YouTube, you'd help us. I don't care where you watch it from, though. All I care is that you're watching it. So let me help you make sense of this. For years now, we have been watching BLM and Antifa, thugs, criminals, protests, terrorists, as we've called them, right? They've committed murder. They have executed police officers, right? They have hunted and executed police officers. They've ambushed police officers. They've burned buildings, burned cities, killed innocent people, beat them down, left them maimed. And the left said nothing. The right condemned them. The left said nothing, right? Every protester that was there yesterday has seen multiple years of footage of the police are not going to do anything to you, all right? They're not going to do anything to you. They're just going to push back on you. You can throw rocks at them. You can do anything. I didn't see any of that. I saw pushing. I saw scuffling. I saw a lot of things. So the mindset and the standard to which BLM and Antifa protesters were held to versus what, conservative protesters yesterday protesting were held to were completely different. All right. Also, I want to say, All right, so that's the mindset going into this. That you can do whatever you want. You're going to get multiple warnings. You can take over public property and occupy it and declare your own country, right? So that is the mindset going into this, okay? From the protesters' perspective. They came there expecting good news and expecting, if there wasn't good news, to show their displeasure and vent some anger, okay? That's what they came there to do. That's what protests are. AOC posted a tweet that this is how you do change. She actually called Twitter and asked them to take that post down and prevent people from sharing it, because that is it. So again, just setting the stage, okay? Now, the police knew that 300,000 people there or more were coming. All right? They should have had overwhelming force at the Capitol, right? Because that was where the security risk was. All right? They should have had massive amount of barricades, tanks. I don't care what it takes. They should have had that place barricaded, locked down with so much manpower there was no hope to get in, to cause a national security risk. Okay? Do you hear what I'm saying? There should not have been allowed to be a national security risk. Protesting is one thing. National security risk is another thing. All right? And this is going to build into what we're talking about later on when the woman gets executed. All right? The police and the Capitol and the federal government and whoever was responsible for those grounds should have had so much firepower there and so much manpower there that at worst it would have been a scuffle between police and a big line, multi-deep, and protesters. That's what should have happened. That didn't happen. There's some conspiracies out there saying that they wanted people to go into the building because what happened a few hours after this? Trump gave up. Trump surrendered. All right. That is what happened after this. Okay. So again, can I prove that? I can't prove that. I am just showing you all the things that are coming in. All right. So you have the mindset now. All right. So let me go to the text here. And thank you for doing this clarification. All right. Replying to YouTube watch. All right. If you know, I'll pull up the MeWe and I'll drop it here in the comments here if you wanted to watch that afterward. So Lauren is saying it's hard to reconcile seeing the same group of people who have been supporting the police during the BLM rallies to do some of the same behavior against them. Yes, this is not killing them, but it's also no show. You know what? I'm going to say something here. All right, they were not. This is protesting is their right. Right. And the police are there to moderate and handle that protesting. All right. If they're there screaming, no one there, from what I saw from the footage, is calling them pigs, is calling them horrible things. They're just there trying to get through to show their displeasure. There are different levels of. I wish the cops didn't have to fight. If the cops wouldn't have got injured if they had the right people there and they knew, and the protesters knew they couldn't get in. All right. So again, it falls on the leadership of the police or whoever runs those grounds for not having the people in place that they had to sprint over there, and people are no one should have ever got in the Capitol. If they did get in the Capitol, they should have just went in there, locked arms, and did like an MLK level of protesting. That is what would have caused things. Or else you're going to get people killed. If you're not going to go in there and just lie on the floor or sit down and lock arms, you're going to be considered a threat in a national security area, and you're going to get killed. All right, so let me explain, start getting to that part of this equation. All right. So again, protesters getting their feeling hurt, the police have to resist them. I don't care about that. All right. People getting killed, I care about that. People getting brutalized, if they went fisticuffs nuts on the protesters and they didn't do that on BLM, on an apples to apples comparison, I would be screaming my heart out saying the police were wrong. This is not some stupid street corner in San Francisco. There are people here that are national security issues. The second person in power was there. Pence was there. All right. Nobody cares about hurting some, unfortunately, and I'm sorry to say this, but some people's lives are more important to other people's lives in the scope of national security. As much as I can't stand Nancy Pelosi, you can't allow someone to go in there and execute Pence or Pelosi or people of, in the chain of command of power, because it's an attack on the nation. All right. So you can't let that happen. So obviously these law enforcement agencies, I don't know who they were. Right? I don't know if they were Capitol Police. I don't know if they were Secret Service. I don't know who they were. All right? But they were obviously told, or they took it upon themselves to make that hallway the last stand, meaning they had retreated to a locked door where they were going to hold a hallway. Now, again, I'm going to start guessing. I am not all these other idiots out there. I'm going to start telling you facts. So how could that have been justified for what appears for that law enforcement officer to walk up to a woman who was climbing through a window and shoot her in, point blank in the face? Looks like he was shooting for her head, hit her in the throat. She falls back and dies. What could justify that level of force when it hasn't been used anywhere else in any protest in America, right? In recent memory. Okay, what could justify that? The only things that could justify that is national security. There were VIPs in that corridor who had to be defended, or access to some area that would put our country at risk. All right. So now let me explain how I think that could have been prevented. So we know the mindset. Okay, we know the mindset of the protesters there. They're going to be able to push against anyone and do whatever, and nobody's going to be hurt or no one's going to get killed, because they haven't done it in, the whole time BLM and Antifa have been doing it. And these protesters do not understand that they're in a building and on a property and in a situation that is 1,000 times more dangerous in the streets of Portland or San Francisco. That is the freaking problem. All right. Now, what I think should have happened is something that I'm probably going to get roasted for by law enforcement and tactical professionals across the country, because it's not trained in very many places. That officer should have fired a warning shot in a safe direction. The ceiling, the floor, the wall, wherever. You're a trained professional, pick one. Shoot your gun multiple times and say, listen, this is now, that would have gotten a lot of people's attention. All right, and said, listen, this is national security now. If you come through this door, I am going to have to kill you. Anything short of that, and no one's going to believe it. All right, and everyone who's going to laugh at me and say all that, that is the only way he could have saved that woman's life, other than coming up and grabbing something and beating her upside the head and using that to do it. Okay, but anything other than that, instead it went to the most lethal force possible, from verbal commands to lethal force possible against someone who was obviously unarmed, had a backpack, could have been, I've heard, backpack could have been explosive. Yes, it could have been that. And that's why they had to use lethal force. But thinking outside of the box as a shooter, this is a unique precedent that hasn't happened in any of our lifetimes, and should have had demanded a better response from somebody who was well trained. All right. Now, that's all I'm going to say. So, you guys are going to hate me for this. It's a justifiable shoot, as much as I'm pissed off from that. If there was national security interest behind that door, if there was a VIP there or access to some place of defense, then it was a justifiable to shoot. Could he have done other options before that, in my opinion, that he wasn't trained to do? Yes. Yes, and it's a tragedy. And he murdered that woman. Right? He murdered. It's a justifiable murder. If it's a national, we don't know yet. So we have to let the facts play out. We have to play the facts. All right. And let this come out in the end. There has to be an investigation. There will, this this veteran who was killed is going to change the way they do things in the past. Every standard operating procedure in law enforcement and in the military is written in blood, and it was her blood this time. And my heart breaks for her, and I wish she didn't die. And I was so angry when I saw. I'm still angry and heartbroken. I'm heartbroken at what happened. I am sorry that law enforcement is going to be painted with this picture. I am mad that they did this. I am mad that they were set up for failure. I am mad that somebody who probably I identify with ideologically got killed unnecessarily. And the blame for this, let's start going over the blame now. Where's the blame on this? The blame's the freaking media. The blame is the leadership of the police department. The blame, I expect the Democrats to have this problem. The blame is with the Democrats who, stoked fires and let BLM and Antifa do whatever they wanted for years now. So the Trump supporters thought they were playing by those rules. And the media, who called them mostly peaceful protests. What did these guys do? They broke some glass and they broke some doors and they pushed around some cops like Antifa's been doing. Antifa murdered people, man. BLM murdered people. They burnt down freaking blocks. They burnt down and murdered people. These guys didn't do any of that. All right? And they were killed for that. So the blame is for the leadership who didn't have the manpower there that should have stopped this before it became a national security incident. I don't expect that cop who's holding that door to be able to think outside the process. I don't know his level of training. I'm sorry, cops are not the ninjas you think they are. If they're not. And he was given orders to hold that door at all costs. I guarantee you that. So again, but I blame the leadership because they knew 300,000 people were going to be there and that they were going to the Capitol and that a process was going on and that they were going to try to do this and they didn't do anything. And I blame all the media. Every Newsmax yesterday sucked. Fox sucked. All the liberal media out there, of course, sucked. No one said what I am about to say. Calm down. We don't know who shot. We don't know what happened. We don't know anything. Let's be calm and let's figure out what's going on. We know shots are fired. I knew immediately with the way that freaking the speaker of the junior Kevin McCarthy said, I heard shots were fired. I heard it come over. The second I heard it, that I'm like, that's a cop saying that a cop shot someone. But everyone ran with Trump supporters are armed and shooting people. That's the way they made it look with the way they reported it. It was so bad. It was so bad. And then, it just breaks my heart of what just happened to our country. It breaks my heart of what just happened to the movement. It breaks my heart on all these things. And, and we were just victimized, the whole country was just victimized. And it's always the same people who are responsible. The freaking media. The media set this narrative. It wasn't Trump. Trump didn't tell anyone to go down there and storm the Capitol. They didn't do any of that. So that is where we were at. I'm going to go to the comments here because, I need to drink a little bit because my throat's killing me from all the screaming I've been doing. And I apologize for that. So here we go. I heard the police was only allocated at certain numbers for the event. Jay, they probably were. If this was Boston, they would have had everybody in the whole police department at the Capitol with state police augmentation and all the SWAT teams there doing it. This was done poorly. I hope it wasn't done for a reason. I can theorize that it was done for a reason. It was freaking terrible. It was just worse than the incompetence of the Charlottesville Police Department on the tragedy that happened in Charlottesville. They stood by and they let the rioters, fight in the street and do nothing. All right, I've seen a lot of videos of protesters physically engaging with the police. That's the part, to me, that seems to cross the line for respect for law enforcement, which our party stands for. I haven't seen anyone beating down police. I've seen pushing and shoving. If I've been on those lines as a cop, I've been pushed against. It sucks. And it sucks that you're doing that because the cops don't want to be there. Unfortunately, it's their job. So when they're pushed, the cops react over and above that, which is usually open hand to me, closed hand. Closed hand to me, stick. right? The problem is the cops were overwhelmed and people were trying to do some things. And again, I don't know if there's 300,000 people there, at least people. They're going to be bad actors. You think I'm pissed off, and think how pissed off you are. You guys are well-adjusted, good people with good lives. There are people out there with nothing to lose, who are angry, who are being fed truth and misinformation, and are going there to get a pound of flesh. That's a fact. I wish it wasn't the case, but there are violent people in this world on all sides of every issue. To say otherwise would be crazy. It wouldn't acknowledge human nature. But you have people like Hannity, whose opening dialogue is all about patriots stand up. I'm glad they got into the building. I wish it was more civilized, but people are pissed and they need to understand that. Brett, that's what I said in the beginning. I am for them getting into the building and protesting, particularly, going in there and doing it peacefully, spraying fire extinguishers, posing at the podium. That's all stupid knucklehead stuff. That's not patriotic stuff. They could have done this in a way. You want to see the way you change things? Look at what MLK did, who copied Gandhi. Those are people who changed the freaking world, all right? I don't know if that works anymore. It appears that BLM can go out and burn, murder, and do whatever, and they get plazas and streets named after them. So I don't blame this party, the protesters, for being confused. I'm sure they're expecting, if they did what the left does, for a new building or a street or a plaza or a monument to be built in their honor, for Christ's sakes. So let me go back up here. Okay, so fine line between hypocrisy and you guys did it first and we get to do it too. You're right. Replied to Lauren, agreed. I've heard that police, they were underprepared, and that's BS. They should not have been allowed to do that. I've seen videos. All right, that's where it stands for me. You have people like Hannity. I covered that. God bless. I don't know how to say her name. Ashley Babbitt. She is a hero who died, and you're right, she is. She will not be forgotten, and she not die in vain. This is an American hero. I agree with you, Blake, on that. I agree with you 100%. She should not be dead, and I don't think she was a bad person at all. Can you imagine the backlash if BLM or Antifa got shot and killed over the summer when they were riding alone? Will, that is a good point. There was a very big difference. There was not a national security problem with BLM and Antifa. They went after you and I and businesses and, and police things. It was not a national security problem. That is the difference. This is a different playing field. It's apples to freaking watermelons. It's not apples to oranges or apples to apples, guys. A lot of sensitive information in those areas as well, even if the important people weren't. Yeah, I don't care about the sensitive information. I really don't. I don't care about the sensitive information. At this point, I hope Trump releases freaking everything before he's gone. Yep, so, white privilege again. I think whoever came through that window, that cop was ordered to kill, whether it was a white woman, a black woman, a white male, or a black male. Yes. Do I believe that white Trump supporters are held different to a different standard? Yes. But Antifa is 99% white people. All right. And they get to do whatever they want. All right. Replying to Lauren, is that not align with that thought? Yes, we own the building, but the average citizen does not have the authority to interact with a lot of things that are in that building. We do still not. We still have to follow certain rules. Exactly. The classified national security stuff, in the wrong hands could compromise everything. So again, I don't know what was in there. I don't, let me walk it back. The passion to it. Obviously, if there's classified information, then that was going to lead to loss of life, compromise of military personnel, whatever, right? We all think of this politician's going to be embarrassed. The FBI is going to be embarrassed. And we've all seen the classified information system abused to the point where the FBI's want to be embarrassed, so they classify it and they white line it out, and it turns out it's not. It was just to avoid embarrassment. So again, the whole classification process needs to be reviewed, in my opinion. Brett replying to Lauren, when will politicians draw the line? Your thoughts? I shed a lot of tears yesterday, brother. We love this country. I know we do, man. The problem is that you had politicians doing business in the building at the time. That's what I said, Terrence. And again, I don't care about other politicians. I really don't. If it's a national security interest and it's people in the chain of line of power, do I care if somebody from Massachusetts, Florida, whatever, was uncomfortable and locked in his office? I don't care about that. It's not national security to me. I know, here's something to think about, people. Where was the outrage and where was the problem when a crazy Democrat tried to assassinate the Republican baseball team with an AR-15? Where was that? You know what I'm saying? Where was that? Again, nothing like this. It's such a double standard, and we can't exist this way. What they don't understand, well, let me get wet my throat here before I go crazy. Let me explain something. That by demonizing everybody there and the 300,000 people and everyone that those 300,000 people know, you just told 80 million people that they're all bad people and they're all criminals and they have no way of protesting to let off steam. The only way this goes is more violent from here. If you're not going to call this straight, if you're going to call everyone monsters and you're going to paint them all this way, they're only going to become those monsters in the end. They're only going to further become the monsters. You saw this. You see this with active shooters. You see this with the active shooters that you have in schools and with people being bullied and in society. You have 22 veterans a day who are patriots who kill themselves. It's not far for them to make a jump to become, to take that a step further and take people with them. You guys have to understand, we have to get this dialogue right. We have to get this dialogue right, or many, many, many more people are going to die. And I pray to dear Lord Jesus that doesn't happen. That's why we have to have constructive dialogue with this and fair dialogue with this. If we do not, Mitch McConnell and all those freaking senators and all those people get up there and painted everybody with a brush. You are the problem. You didn't hear and learn anything yesterday. Nothing. And you're going to cause more people to get hurt. Agreed. Right place, right time. You are speaking truth to life. Thank you, Terrence. National security has been being breached since Hillary Clinton emails Benghazi was zero. David, that is 100% true. We all want accountability. There's none. I'm not going to contest that. But we're talking about loss of life in the moment. Right? In the moment. I don't know if Pence was there. Should we allow protesters to go out there and kill Pence? No. Absolutely not. So, absolutely not. I'm sorry, I saw a hiccup in our line there. There is no excuse for going after national security. This is not a military operation, right? It should not happen. And I don't know. I'm hypothesizing. If those cops just chose that because they were scared, then they're wrong and they should be held to account. But if there was a national security interest for no one to make it past that because there was no other defensible location, then it's a justified shoot. And I'm sorry to say that. And I wish it didn't happen. And I wish they fired warning shots. And I wish they used other force to stop that, to show that you can't do this because there's now a different set of rules. So again, I'm sorry. Get that man a cough drop. Thanks. I appreciate it. BLM and Antifa violence was wrong and violence yesterday was wrong. Absolutely. But there's a scale of violence, people. If I bump chests with you, that's violence. If I'm pushing against the police line, that's violence. But the police are there with shields and equipment to mitigate that. I don't want that to happen. There's a part of me that thinks the only way we're going to change is for all of us to go out there and pull a page out of MLK, sit down in the street and get the crap beat out of us and hope that changed hearts and minds. That's what the civil rights movement was, and it changed the entire world. The other thing is civil war. Civil war is storming the Capitol and doing horrible things and taking over government and people getting killed. That's where this goes if we don't fix this here and now. And you don't fix it with lies. You don't fix it with propaganda. You don't fix it with what every single person in the media did yesterday. Need to take a swift hand with all. I don't understand that. Replying to lowering term limits and getting rid of Dominion is a must. Guys, there's a lot of politics that we have to talk about that are all issues. You know, we all believe, if you're watching this channel, the election was stolen. All right? They let it happen. You know who let it happen? I expect the Democrats, because it was in their interest to let it happen. But Mitch McConnell and every Republican that didn't stand up for it needs to be primaried. You can never trust them. Never, ever, ever trust them. Rubio, gone. All of them gone. You can never trust them. Any Republican who is not on that needs to be primaried and gone. All right? It just needs to happen. And we have a long haul. My advice to everyone here is move to the reddest state possible, vote for the reddest governor, fight for every point that you can there, and hope that your governor and that your politicians hold the line there, and that you're like Texas, you are almost a blue state. I hope that you change that. I'm looking at Tennessee right now. I'm looking at Wyoming right now. I'm looking at West Virginia. I met some West Virginians yesterday who assured me that they are historically a red state and that they're a red state. I don't know. They were blue forever because of unions in the coal mines. But anyways, they were extremely red this time around, and I get that. I'm just trying to get a feel for it. I'm going to do my research. I'm moving one more time, and then I will die there defending that place. I know this is not apples to apples, but as a devil's advocate, can you see the right has been painting the whole left movement based on the actions of Antifa? Yeah, we are not Antifa. Nothing yesterday was Antifa other than the conflict with police. All right, other than the conflict with police. And when the police are outnumbered, 300,000 to a small number, and they're using overwhelming force and shooting women, again, I can't report this as a fact, this is just an eyewitness, but shooting a mom with her kid with a CS canister, people are going to get pissed off, right? And I'm not condoning that. You cut me, I bleed blue, all right? I love the police. I am for law and order. There has to be a place for protests to happen. All right. And let's face it, peaceful protests didn't change anything. Violent didn't change anything recently. Right. We've been doing that forever. Right. What has BLM and Antifa changed the entire country by burning everything down? So that's what Trump protesters are seeing. And yes, 300,000 people there, 99% of them did the right thing and didn't get violent. 1% did. Whereas all the Democrats who pleaded with, it was a few bad actors. Really? You didn't hear that yesterday. That is a different issue, Araman 777. I agree with you. That is a different issue. I do not think, I think if we were going to do yesterday right, and I said this before, it would be 10 million people armed marching on DC. That is the only way to do this, with max control, max training, max everything to make sure a tragedy didn't happen, right? Anything else is going to be is not going to do anything, right? And there is a train of thought that violence in some scope, or truck drivers shutting down a city and not allowing anything in. There are a lot of things that can be done before we get painted as evil people and give them this easy through. Trump surrendered yesterday because of what happened. Trump surrendered yesterday instead of doing some of the other options he had. All right. So again, I am not saying surrender to the corruption. We need to do something. We need to figure it out. A piecemeal disaster like yesterday is not the way to do it. All right, so Schneider, he has a bad throat from yelling so much in the military. Yes, I do. I've got damaged vocal cords. So was that Antifa that stormed the Capitol? Watched swatched down the windows 5 minutes, the walls, no security around. That while the supporters try to stop them. I don't think, brother, I have seen, and again, I don't know what's true. Is it possible it was Antifa? Yes. I've seen photographic evidence of both. I've seen photographic evidence that it was Antifa with people saying taking protests for those guys in other places. I've seen photographic evidence the other way. I don't know what the truth is. It's possible. There were Republican, or not Republican, conservative Trump supporters trying to stop them. There are, at BLM and Antifa rallies, you'll see them, people trying to stop the violence there on their side. I'm trying to call balls and strikes here. I've seen plenty of people, girls in particular, running in and trying to stop people from beating down, people with American flags. So there are good, again, the ratio's way off. It was 99% of Trump supporters, maybe 99.9 that did the right thing, right? And a small percentage that may have done the wrong thing. I don't know. That's why I'm saying may. Everyone, I shared stuff yesterday as all those overwhelming photos of Antifa coming in and private messages with people and went on there. I can't say that for a fact, though. I'm an opinion program, so I'll get it. Do I think there might have been Antifa in there? Absolutely. Do I know it? No. That's the difference between me commenting on this responsibly and other people. Thank you for what you do. I've got to get back to work. God bless America. Thank you, Brett. Listen to General Flynn today. This isn't over. Trump has a very good chance of winning. I'm done with the promises, OXAO. I've had 1,000 promises to me from Steve Bannon, Rudy Giuliani, Michael Flynn, Sidney Powell, the other guy, Wood. Brother, I don't believe anyone anymore. I do not believe anything anymore. Everything now, I'm skeptic of everything that everyone tells me unless I saw it with my eyes or it can be verified or it actually happens. Because I've been told a million things and none of it's happened. Yes, the doomsday Trump plane went to Abilene, Texas. Did Trump go to Texas for protection as D.C. on lockdown? Yes, the doomsday Trump. I mean, I don't doubt that. They would rather hold on to the illusion of America than seriously contemplating succession and true liberty and independence. Roshan says, I agree with you, brother. We all want, best case scenario, I want America to go back to the way it was. And I'd be willing, if I thought it was possible, I would be willing to work on a long-term strategy to do that. All right. I don't think that's possible. I think secession is the best chance to happen, but I think it's a pipe dream. I don't, there is no peaceful way to succeed. It just doesn't happen. Am I willing to fight that fight? If it's drawn up appropriately and there's leadership, I'd be willing to contemplate that. I would throw in for that. All right. And I'm not saying what you're saying is true. All right. Russia Uncensored. It's true. When it's hard for people, again, and I've gone to your channel. I've seen some things that you've posted. You've had very thoughtful, articulate things out here, to say it's just, I don't, how do you have national security if we would secede? Let's say we took the entire middle of the country. How do you have national security? You can't. Why? If every conservative person or most of them fled from the coast interior, how would we ever have national security? Because let's figure this out. Who would then fill in to the liberal places on the coast? China would take it over. And then you could theoretically detonate a tactical nuke or bombs all along the U.S. border and wipe out the U.S. with no response time. None. All right. So it's kind of a pipe dream, guys. Not saying that we are Antifa, just that there are some similarities in a large movement being viewed based on the action of the few. I was hoping that yesterday in a non-violent fashion, if Trump were to have marched with them to the Capitol, that's not a time we live in anymore, Aaron. Trump would have got killed if he did that. There are too many people that want to hurt him. Secret Service cannot allow him to march with anyone. There's no way. If they couldn't protect the Capitol, how could they protect the president? All right. And, Iran made threats, or, I believe it was reported that Iran said they were going to crash a plane into whatever yesterday. Again, I don't know if that's a fact. I'm just going off of things that were said, reported here, there. I can't even recall where I heard that. All right. Linwood is out there tweeting that the election being certified was the last step in showing who the traitors are and that there will be lots of arrests coming and Trump's still winning. I'm done, Lauren. I know I'm not going to believe it until it happens. I have a hard time taking him seriously anymore, and it seems irresponsible to be putting that. I'm not going to have hope for anything. I'm going to pray for the best and prepare for the worst. Any path, including any path where liberals are a part of the system, is a bad path. I agree with you. Trump said, "Go home, stay safe, stay peaceful, and go home." He did leave too. He did leave too early. No, I think he had to get out of there, man. I think he had to get out of there. 300. There were so many people there yesterday, guys. You don't understand. If all those 300,000 people wanted to do something, they could have done anything. They could have taken the Capitol. They could have killed everybody if they wanted to. There was 300,000 people there. There was no one there that could have stopped them. We will find out one way or another in 2 weeks. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, but I'm not getting my hopes up, and I'm planning for the worst. I would add this. Yesterday's actions didn't change the outcome. Weak Republicans are to blame. 100%, Brett. I don't know if you missed my rant where I was screaming, but the people I hold most accountable for what happened yesterday is the media and weak Republicans. That's who I hold accountable for yesterday. Instead of destroying the Constitution, we need to defend it. What would seceding do to the protections afforded by the Constitution? What would be succeeding? What would be succeeding to do the protections afforded by the Constitution? I'm not a constitutional scholar. I believe I don't believe this fight is over. I believe the Trump part may be over, but I think that we as patriots need to get some really smart people together. And we start to need to plan what the future is, because America goes nowhere but further left from here. It appears you believe we are currently being governed ethically by constitutional rights now. Unfortunately, I can't get through to anybody who believes things are okay in the Constitution. You are getting through to me. I don't understand what you're saying, Russia son. I do not think we are being justly governed right now. But, I've seen war. I've been on the front lines. I've seen this stuff. I understand what military power is. Everybody who hypothetically, one Apache helicopter could have wiped out that freaking whole crowd practically yesterday. I mean, like talking about this responsibly and figuring this out, there are always unintended. Yes, there are principled things we need to do, and then there are practical, tactical ways to do things, and what you're not offering the tactical, practical aspect to that. Yes, should we break away and make a right-wing utopia? Yes, I would love that. How does that work? What, just going out there and throwing your life away with no plan? How does that work? That is a process that is going to have to be worked out in some things before serious people are going to consider that. All right, yep. Seceding and establishing a separate nation of red states is the biggest defense of the Constitution. Seceding. A new political party. No, three-party system. Yes, that could happen. It would just take so long for us to take it back. And again, until the media is set straight, we have no hope, guys. Our number one agenda needs to hold the media accountable right now, because the media are checks on the government, and they're not doing their job. And if they're not doing their job, then we're screwed. So big tech, like my biggest priority right now would be going after big tech and going after the media, period. The Constitution is a specific cluster of states, but a belief, ethics. I'm right there with you. Brother. I believe, I would love that. Trust me, I would love that. Would it make me sad that we couldn't, overwhelming odds? I don't know how that works. I just thinking of the national security implications of it, thinking of that 70% of the nation's wealth is in the blue states or in blue areas, blue counties. I will listen to General Flynn. OX, I respect you, whatever. Will some small part of me hold out hope? Yeah, of course. I hold out hope every day that something big happens and that everything that we're saved. It just doesn't happen. It hasn't happened yet. A new party just allows the anti-constitutional forces to participate and obstruct. Again, completely agree on that. So, all right, so where do we go from here? All right, where do we go from here? Unless there are other things that you guys want to talk about and go forward. One, we're going to get shadow banned on this because of the topic we talked about. I need you guys to subscribe, to share, to comment, to do whatever you can to get the word out, okay? I also expect that we could be taken down at any day because, again, I didn't condone any violence, but who knows what the rules are with all this stuff, right? So please go to MeWe. Go to, Parler I think sucks, but I got a Parler account. It gets no traction. We are growing successfully on MeWe, which is the closest thing to this. I am opening up a Rumble page. The problem is it takes me so long to upload to YouTube. That's just going to double. Thank you, Lauren. It's just going to double my my upload time for that, so it won't be as dynamic. Forming a new nation under the Constitution deprives big tech, big media, and the left of almost all the centralized power. Yep. So if you're watching this and this makes sense, liking it, sharing it, going to iTunes and writing a review for us, a 5-star review, at least helps the podcast grow, which might bring more people here. So again, that's all I'm going to say on that. Where do we go from this as a country and as a people? I am all for strategizing and seceding. We just need to get serious people involved in that. And I need to see serious, reputable people out there drawing up a plan on how that would look, how that would look. If it doesn't work and it doesn't become an option, what's our plan B, right? We need to figure this out. We need to figure this out quick. And I believe we need to start with the media and we need to start with big tech because they limit everything. We'll never get any traction if we don't have messaging, and our messaging is being controlled by those two platforms. The will fall. All right. I thought this about John B. Wells in the caravan to midnight, coast to coast, and had such hopes. But nothing ever came out of their weekend shows. More of the same occurred. The will fall and be taken over by the new constitutional nation because they can't survive as small pockets of liberal cells without centralized money and power. Again, I don't know who takes our resources. It's such a complicated thing. Am I for it? Yeah, I'm for it, brother. That's all I can say. But how does it work? Show us how it works. Have a plan. Work towards it. And then, I'm sorry, what are you going to do in states where it's like, 51-49, 60-40? Is that enough for when 40% of the population doesn't want it? Again, dude, and there's going to be conservatives that don't want it, so you're going to be in the minority, right? We're the minority here because our messaging is not being heard. That is the problem. Our messaging is not being heard. Why wasn't there 3 million people yesterday? Everybody here who is talking smack, why weren't you there yesterday? And again, I love you guys. I'm not trying to be confrontational with you guys. I'm sure everyone had an alibi. I had 1,000 reasons. I was so mad that I had to go yesterday. So mad. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be doing anything about that. But I had to go. And everybody who didn't, who chose something else, you're part of the problem, right? So when you come out there and people say, all this tough talk and do all this, until you move, until you do something, you're all talk, no action. That's the rule of it. I love you. I hope I see you at the next one. I welcome you. I want all that. But you got to understand that if we had 3 million there yesterday, it would have been a very different result. That's all I'm saying. If we had leaders there yesterday who could have pulled back the Antifa group from storming the Capitol, who could have protected the police, but instead, the angriest people showed up, not the most, we didn't have enough people who were intelligent and wise enough to do it smart. That's all I'll say. All right. Any other comments out there? All right. So here's what we got to do. Again, we got to figure out the media and social media and the tech giants are our top priority right now. We don't have another election for 2 years. We have to primary every one of those guys out there. Every one of you, I'm telling you, if you don't live in a state that is bright red, move to a state that's bright red. Let's make it so that we could do what Russia Uncensored is saying and secede if we flood it and we get it all, a mass exodus out of these liberal places and go from there. All right. It wouldn't have been, this was a false flag. I was there and watched Antifa. Brennan, it very well could have. Brother, I'm not saying that it wasn't a false flag. I'm saying, do I think if you're going to tell me that not one Trump poster went up there, you're living in a dream world. Mob mentality is you see something going on, right? It starts like this. I push a cop, right? A cop goes to push me back, hits a girl next to him and floors her by accident. That pisses everyone else around him. They push back against that cop, which causes more violence and more violence and more violence. All right. It's too easy once you're in a place like that for passions to rise. A lot of us are passionate country, American living. When you see it, what you see as a perceived injustice or somebody doing it, it's so easy to get sucked into that mob mentality. And that's what I'm trying to say. Until I have the facts, until I see Antifa arrested, right? And until whatever, then we can start seeing this I'm willing to entertain all that, brother. And I'm willing to say it's possible, maybe even probable, but I'm not going to say that not a single Trump protester got sucked into that. I don't think that's realistic. I think that it's fair to say that it's possible that some guys there. Are there unstable Trump supporters? Yes, they're unstable everything. They're unstable Buddha followers and Christ followers and everything else. There are unstable people out there that will do bad things when you get 300,000 people in one place. I agree with you, Brandon. I think that is a probable situation that Antifa led the charge and that Patriots got sucked into it. I see that as a probable thing. I can't report that as fact, though, right? I can't. Is it possible? Yes. Is it possible? I've seen one post, and again, I didn't think of it. I saw one post that one of the guys who was in the Capitol was at Charlottesville as one of the Unite the Right people as a white supremacist. Is it possible that white supremacists and bad actors from them got in there and egged this on? Yes. The key word is bad actors. We're going to have bad actors in the Trump movement. They're going to have bad actors in the left movement. The key is bad actors sucked good people into this. I believe that. We are, Brandon. We are. Lauren, me and Brandon and I are saying the same thing. And that's why I told people, calm down, let the facts come out of this. There needs to be investigation. The facts are going to come out. And again, depending on what news channel you go, because we don't have a fact source anymore. We don't have a middle ground, unbiased facts source anymore. It's disgusting. I don't trust anyone. The only one I really trust to report anything is the Epic Times. I have yet to see them put out something that wasn't true. If you guys have, please let me know, because, I don't want to let my guard down with another media source. Not that you ever should, but that's where I'm going first now, and then I go other places to validate that media source. Just a super sad day for everything, for our country. I love America. I am willing to do what it takes to protect America. It just has to be done in a right, thoughtful, wise, tactical way that we can do this. All right. I am not for wasting lives. I am not for inflicting misery on people. I am a follower of Jesus first, everyone, an American second. All right. So if we're going to do this, we're going to do this in a moral right way. All right. Our founders did this in a moral right way. Were there casualties? Did it erupt into war? It did. All right. And that's what we have to look at. But it has to be done, and all efforts for this to be peaceful have to be pursued first. Up to and including going MLK's route and locking arms and marching and dealing with the abuse and doing all that stuff. That is something that we have to consider. All right. Does that work anymore? I don't know. Is the Antifa BLM model the way to go? I hope not. So, anyways, amen. It drives me nuts when people are sharing info because they sleuth online with zero verification, but pushing it as a truth. Huge part of where we are. That's exactly why, right, Lauren? It's so tempting to see something that is so agrees with what you say and you want it to be. It's like conservative porn, and you want to share it. You got to make sure that you verify it first. I've fallen for it, and every time I've done it, I've regretted it. So, anyways, that's all I kind of got for today, guys. Please, 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 if you're going to watch us on Facebook, I appreciate you watching on Facebook. If you could go to YouTube, that helps drive up our viewing hours, which will help us monetize this thing. We're taking a beating in our business with cancel culture for the things I say. And we're also taking a beating, because the economy sucks right now. So, liking, sharing, subscribing, really makes a difference. And if you go to our Patreon page and you contribute there, I'd really appreciate it. So I'm going to pray us out right now. So everyone, if you could, in agreement with me, dear Heavenly Father, we come to you now with a heavy heart. We pray for the life lost yesterday. We pray for our country that is shattered and broken right now and in a place of extreme danger, Lord. We know that you are the only way forward. We know that Judeo-Christian principles and that your word, Lord, and your son Jesus is the only way forward for this. We pray for revival to break out through these trying times so that we all track back to God, because only you can do this, Lord. We can't do this without your blessing. If you're against America staying united or America dividing, it can't happen. All right, Lord, so we ask that you would give us all wisdom. Put it all, send your Holy Spirit to put it on our hearts on which way we need to go forward, all right, and help calm our heads and help us heal this nation to move forward as one nation, or give us the wisdom on how we can separate and be a nation under your word, under you one more time, under you once again. I pray all these things in Jesus' name, and amen. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching this and being a part of the solution. And I really appreciate your support, and I love you. And, just so sorry for everything that's going on for our country. It breaks my heart.